You know, it's amazing how sometimes the smallest things in biology can help us understand some of the biggest spiritual ideas. Today, we're going to see how a tiny little molecule inside every one of our cells, the messenger molecule, can unlock a really powerful truth about how divine communication works.
So let's just dive right into the central question of this whole thing. How is a prophet, a messenger from God, anything like a single strand of RNA? I know, it sounds like a weird comparison, but stick with me because the parallels are absolutely fascinating.
All right, to really get this analogy, we first need to shrink down and take a look inside the microscopic world of our cells. Our story starts deep inside the cell's command center, the nucleus, with what you could call life's blueprint.
So, locked away inside that nucleus is our DNA. Think of it as the master blueprint for your entire body. It has every single instruction for building you and keeping you running. But this blueprint is so valuable, so precious, that it's kept under lock and key for safety. For any of those instructions to actually get used, a copy has to be sent out.
So how does that happen? Well, it's kind of like a four-step relay race. First, a small section of that DNA blueprint is copied onto a new molecule called messenger RNA. We'll just call it mRNA. Second, this mRNA acts like a courier. It grabs the message and travels out of the safe nucleus into the main part of the cell. Third, little cellular machines called ribosomes find the message and read its instructions. And finally, they use those instructions to build proteins, which are the little workers that keep us alive. It's a perfect information system.
Okay, so you've got the biology. Now let's pivot from the cell to the spiritual world. Because this whole process, a protected message being sent out by a special messenger, has a direct parallel in the role of a prophet.
And this is where it all clicks. The DNA, that master blueprint, is like God's perfect wisdom. The mRNA, messenger, well, that's the prophet who receives that divine message. The prophet then carries this message out to the people. And the goal isn't just for people to hear the message, right? The goal is to build something with it, to create transformed lives.
This verse just illustrates the point perfectly. Just like our cells literally need those proteins built from the mRNA's instructions to survive, this suggests our spiritual lives need to be fed by the words, the messages that come from God.
But here's the thing, not all messages are good. In both the biological world and the spiritual world, this beautiful system can be hijacked. And that leads to a kind of viral corruption where false messages can do some serious damage.
So biologically, this is exactly what happens when a virus attacks. It invades a cell and injects its own malicious code, its own fake message. The cell's machinery gets tricked, reads these fake instructions, and starts building harmful viral proteins instead of the good ones. And that, of course, leads to sickness.
The spiritual parallel is almost shockingly direct. We see this exact warning about false prophets. They might look harmless on the outside, but they're carrying a corrupting message. Their words don't come from the divine blueprint. Instead, they introduce these spiritual viruses that just lead to chaos and confusion.
So, if you're the enemy and you want to stop a true message, how would you do it? Well, the strategies that viruses use give us a really clear two-part playbook. The first tactic is really sneaky. It's called deactivation. See, some viruses don't even bother destroying the cell's mRNA. Instead, they just latch onto it and block it from being read. The message is still there, totally intact, but it's powerless. It can't produce anything.
So how does this play out spiritually? It's simple. Doubt. When people hear a prophetic message and say, that's just a human opinion, or was that really from God? They're deactivating it. The words have been heard, but by questioning the authority of the messenger, the message gets blocked. It never gets translated into action.
So here's the playbook, side by side. Tactic 1, deactivation, just blocks the message by creating doubt. But what if that doesn't work? Well, the enemy escalates to tactic 2, destruction. Biologically, this is what a virus like SARS-CoV-2 does. It literally chops up the cell's mRNA into useless little pieces. The spiritual parallel? Persecution, mocking, exiling, or even killing the messenger to completely destroy the message. With these two powerful attack strategies, it kind of makes you wonder, how can a true message even survive? Well, once again, the cell gives us the answer. It has this incredible defense mechanism. And here, the key is speed. In the cell, if an mRNA molecule can get to a ribosome and start building a protein right away, it's often protected from a viral attack. The same is true for us. When a divine message is received and we immediately act on it, it gets translated into something real and powerful before doubt or persecution has a chance to tear it apart.
You know, the parable of the sower describes this exact principle. The good soil isn't just someone who hears the message, it's an obedient heart, one that acts on it. That obedience is what protects the truth, allowing it to survive attacks and multiply its impact like crazy.
And that brings us to the most important takeaway of this whole explainer. Protecting a divine message is not a passive thing, it requires action. The truth has to be lived, not just known. When we translate that message into our everyday choices, that becomes its ultimate defense.
And in the end, this verse from Isaiah offers such a powerful promise. It says that despite all the attacks, all the deactivation and destruction, a divine message has this built-in power to accomplish its purpose. It will not fail.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with a question. What message has been placed in your heart? And, more importantly, how can you protect that message from being silenced by living it out this week?